breaking news.
We now have a new Brexit Secretary. I guess he's probably not going to be a household name to many people. Stephen Barclay, who is a health minister. Before that, worked in the Treasury. He is the new Brexit Secretary, and I suspect that may surprise many people because, you know, he is not one of the frontline cabinet Brexiteers. You might have expected.
He is a Brexiteer, though.
Oh, he campaigned for leave, but he's not what I would say one of the well-known, high-profile Brexiteers. He's not, you know, in the same category as Michael Gove or very obviously people like Chris Grayling, Andrea Leadsom, and so on and so forth. What is interesting is that Mrs May has chosen to, or had to, appoint, let us just say, a lesser well-known politician for what is a pretty high-profile job, which suggests that she was unable to get any of the main well-known Brexiteers to take up the job. We already know Michael Gove said no thanks. It looks as if other Brexiteers may also have been unwilling to take up the job. Now, what that points to is an emerging move by the Brexiteers in the cabinet to try and get Mrs May to shift, to rethink elements of her Brexit deal, and particularly around the so-called backstop. So they may just have said to her, actually, no, we don't want this if we're going to have to campaign for your deal. So she has gone for someone, big promotion, from Health Minister to Brexit Secretary. Stephen Barclay was brought into government by Theresa May, became an MP under David Cameron in 2010. I am told he has never, ever rebelled, so he is an uber loyalist as well as being a Leave campaigner, but he is the new Brexit Secretary.
Now, the message that's being sent out by Downing Street is, here we are, whatever time it is on Friday evening, I don't even know.
Shall
what
I
time
have a look?
Yeah, I don't
it's
even know.
actually 32 minutes past 4.
Right. So at this very time, they're saying, here we are, Friday evening, we're trying to put an end to this week of mayhem and difficulty, and the message is, she moves on.
She had to have, I think, a Brexit Secretary quite quickly, because if this went on into the weekend, it would begin to look as if she was really struggling to find anyone. So I think there was a need to get in place the new cabinet. We know Amber Rudd obviously is going to work and pensions. And there is a desire, I think, to present as business gradually returning to normal. So, you know, we have had those cabinet voices coming out and backing Mrs May. The Brexit critics have failed to amass the 48 letters. So Mrs May goes into the weekend. She's suffered an almighty storm, but she's still there. There's no more resignations, there's not a leadership challenge, and she's got her full cabinet back together again.
There were those who were suggesting this morning that those 48 names would be there today or by tonight. Not happening, is it?
I think it suggests that some of the European Research Group are perhaps a little less gung-ho in private than they are in public. So they may talk a good game in public, but in private they might be much more cautious. And I think two things which will play on their minds. One, how is your local party going to respond if they see you firing off letters demanding the Prime Minister's head? And two, Michael Gove's wobble. The fact that Michael Gove decided, despite the fact he didn't want the Brexit job and despite the fact he wants Mrs May to do a better deal, to stick it out. So if he, the leading or one of the leading Brexiteers, is going to hang on in there, does that not cause some of the European Research Group critics to think, well, if he's going to hang on with Theresa May, perhaps I ought to just hold fire a bit, albeit they are still saying that they think they will get the 48 letters by next week.
This weekend, we've just seen a picture of Stephen Barclay, but this weekend, MPs, many of them will go back to their constituencies, and many of those constituents may have heard Theresa May on the radio this morning, and all this talk about a people's vote, but MPs going to be listening to the people this weekend, aren't they?
One of the trump cards, and they don't have many, but one of them that Downing Street has is, I think, the sense of sheer bloomin' weariness with Brexit. People are fed up to the back teeth of day after day of Brexit news. They want it done, they want it over with. They would rather like the government to get on with other things such as, social care, universal credit, you name it. There's a long list of things that need to be addressed. And I think Downing Street are half calculating on the fact that that will percolate into the membranes of MPs, and they will get the idea, if you are going to faff about instigating a leadership contest, that is seriously going to knock large members of the public who just want this over with. So, the let's get it over with argument is a big trump card for Team May.
Norman, talk to you later. Thank you very much, Norman Smith.